anyone, whether you're super technical or you're new to the company or been there a decade, you can just open the app and find what you're looking for. It's super intuitive, like any other tools you would use in your personal life.
Bill, to begin, can you describe Pingboard in 5 seconds? Briefly, what is it? How do you guys help people?
It's an application that companies use for their employees to be more connected to each other, which is relevant more than ever when everyone's distributed.
No kidding, being connected. So tell me, how did you discover this problem and how have you built this solution to solve it?
It originated out of our own need. I've built a couple companies, scaled them up, and while we were scaling a co-working space called Capital Factory here in Austin, we needed a way to organize a lot of information about our members, but then we opened it up for them to know more about each other. And if you're an Android developer and you need to hit up somebody that also is an Android developer to get help with a bug, we had that as part of the platform. And we realized as we built it, man, this would have been awesome in our last company. And I have a lot of friends scaling companies where they need the same sort of thing. So that's kind of how it all began.
The platform itself, can you give a good use case, maybe highlight one of your clients that are using it to share a good story?
Yeah, so we get our foot in the door with thousands of companies through having just a really easy to use org chart tool. So a head of HR or CEO or department head, they can use our tool for free to build out an org chart of their organization. So they can use it themselves, export a PDF, but we encourage them to share it. So you can send a link to somebody, and then that's kind of the teaser to get in the door. And what we really believe is your org chart is just one really simple, old school dimension of your company, but work gets done in so many cross-functional ways now. When you communicate out how your company is structured and how you do work, you need something much more dynamic. So kind of we use the org chart to get in the door, and then we try to get the company to use the app for their employees so they can open up on their phone, search by, the common stuff like department and reporting structure, but also things like skills, what projects people are on, where they work, when they work, really any dimension that is relevant to a company, and it's customizable. So companies find all sorts of interesting ways to organize their people data.
Who is the ideal person that ends up buying and managing this platform? Is it the HR manager or?
It's one of two roles. It's either HR manager or a operational leader. So sometimes CEO, sometimes a kind of C-level of a certain department, but it's usually someone's got the need either in HR or in operations.
And how is using your platform different from managing it on spreadsheets or even other competitors out there?
Yeah, the core is that we've taken the approach from the beginning that we were going to design it like a consumer application where anyone, whether you're super technical or you're new to the company or been there a decade, you can just open the app and find what you're looking for. It's super intuitive, like any other tools you would use in your personal life. And then we integrate with the other tools. We're not trying to be the back office system of record, but we want to be the employee's source of truth, where they're going to go. So we integrate with those back office tools, and that's one of the differentiators. Like this is only as useful as far as you trust the information. As soon as you see things that are out of date, you're probably going to stop using it. So that's a big part of our differentiator.
What's some of the popular integrations that you guys have and are people using?
So for data sync, it's things like ADP for their HR data and payroll data, Bamboo HR, namely a bunch of the common ones used in the mid-market. We also sync with identity management systems like Okta or OneLogin. We have an API where some customers, typically the larger customers, will push data in themselves because big companies often are spread out across different countries and have different systems. So, and then we have also on the user-facing side, we have Slack integration, so you can look up info about your teammates in Slack. We have some nice kind of other ways of connecting people, like giving people peer recognition. You can do that through Slack, and it shows up on their profile inside of Pingboard. We'll push like birthdays and anniversaries into Slack, and so that's more of the kind of the fun user-facing side. And we're working on Microsoft Teams integration as well. We don't have that one yet.
What is the right size that you found people actually needing your type of platform?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we've got our customers range from in the teens of employees up to 3,000 or 4,000 employees. But we found the sweet spot is once you're around 100 employees, that's when you start your organization is changing fast enough, and you've got enough people where everybody doesn't know what everyone does, and a new person needs to jump right in and be able to know who to contact for what. And then on the high end, once you get to around 2,000, we're starting to find some functionality that bigger companies need that we haven't built yet, like different access controls for different departments. And some bigger companies operate like large multiple companies that are just rolled under one umbrella. So there's some things that once you get past that size that we'll have to add over time. So I'd say 100 to 2,000 is really the ideal sweet spot.
So just as they're getting enough folks and change where you don't know everybody and there's no way you could, so having a place to see that, but not too large where it gets too complicated, nice sweet spot in between there.
Yeah, we call it the mid-market.
Okay. For those HR managers, operational leaders, is there any good tips that you would recommend that they know about or should look at it, whether it's related to your platform or not, just a power tip you give?
Yeah, one thing that we see a lot, especially if the buyer of Pingboard is an HR leader, they have other tools that store employee information, and a lot of times they're not aware of how limiting those tools are for their employees. So an employee will usually use the HR tools just to do their payroll and benefits stuff, look at their pay stubs and do open enrollment and very little else. And they don't use it as a resource. So HR people use it as a resource. So where we come in is we sync the data from those tools and present it in a way that's really easy for the employee. So, and that's usually something the HR leaders are not thinking about at the time, because they're so used to using their own kind of back office tools. And I'd say on the other side of it, we find part of what keeps Pingboard top of mind is not the utility functionality of being able to find information about people, but we've built a lot of things around that to surface information. So we have on the mobile app, you can play a flashcard game, and there's a leaderboard to learn names and faces, and it gives you tips if you get things wrong. We have the peer recognition I mentioned, where you can give people applause. And we have an out-of-office add-on that we've built in a way that's much more about you telling your teammate, "Hey, I'm just going to be working remote." Back when everybody wasn't doing that, or I'm going to be on vacation and here's where I'm going. It's a lot more social, and that pushes to Slack as well. So we find that to be top of mind for the employee, you need to have some of these more fun kind of engagement type features around the core utility.
Business model wise, it's a monthly, yearly contract based on number of users?
Correct. Yeah, we have different tiers based on functionality, but it's a scales based on how much of the product you're using and then how big of an organization you are.
Looking forward from here, where do you see your company in the near term, next year? What are you excited about that's coming up? And then long term, where do you see it in 5-10 years? So
I'd say there's two directions I see us focusing on. There's a lot more we want to do around the kind of surfacing information to people at the right time. And, if we find two people have similar things in common, be proactively pushing that info to them. Related, there's a lot more we could do around new hire onboarding. We know a lot of our customers use Pingboard to introduce the new employee, kind of like almost like an orientation to the company. So there's more that we have on our roadmap related to that to make that really a good experience. And then there's a few other areas of HR that we have an eye on that we think we can take an employee-centric view on and extend our functionality. So most of HR is very back office and boring, and the stuff that the employees interact with, we believe there's ways to make it much more enjoyable and not a chore. So there's some other kind of more typical parts of HR that we plan to get into over the next year or two.
Where should people go to learn more, and what's a good first step for them to take?
So pingboard.com, you can sign up online. We have lots of great content and examples, case studies, but you can sign up in 30 seconds and start playing around with the account. That's the easiest way. And the initial experience is aimed at trying to get you to build your org chart. So it's really easy and focused on that. So that's the best place to start, and then invite a few team members in and start playing with it. Use the mobile app, and you kind of get the sense for what it can do for your company pretty quick.
Have you seen a company using AI, machine learning, or other technology to transform the way we live, work, and do business? Go to uptechreport.com and let us know.